Hello again and welcome back. All right, page 309.13, unit 28.13, regular verbs, third column. All right, are you ready? Yes, I'm going to start at the bottom. Yesterday, Martha and I lifted this table and moved it over there. Every day we lift it, and yesterday we lifted it. We lifted it. Okay, to lift. Every day I lift weight. Yes, almost every day I lift weights. Levantar pesas. Huh? Yesterday I lifted weights. Really? Richard, do you lift weights a lot? Every day, but only 2 different exercises every day. But I rotate through 8 different exercises lifting weights. So I spend about 10 minutes lifting weights only. 10 minutes a day. All right, that's part of my routine of exercise. But yesterday I lifted weights. Yes. How did you lift the weights yesterday? Well, I lifted weights like this and like this. All right. I lifted weights. Okay. So lifted, landed. How many planes landed in Barajas Airport yesterday? I don't know. Probably, I have no idea. I'm going to guess, adivinar. Maybe 300 planes landed, maybe more, 400 planes landed yesterday in Barajas Airport. With the pandemic, fewer planes, maybe. But I think maybe 1,000 planes land and take off every day. So yesterday, maybe 500 planes landed. And how many spaceships landed in the ocean yesterday? None. None. No, ninguno. No he escrito, none. No spaceships landed in the ocean. How many spaceships landed in Cape Canaveral yesterday? Cape Canaveral. Cabo Cañaveral. ¿Cómo lo dices? Cape, escrito cape. Canaveral. Canaveral. Ay, Cañaveral. No hay remedio para mi mal. Yes, in Cape Canaveral. Okay. I don't think any spaceship landed yesterday in Cape Canaveral. Who were the first astronauts to land on the moon? Well, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin landed on the moon first. When did they land on the moon? They landed on the moon in July 1969. Where were you when they landed on the moon? Where was I? I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma when they landed on the moon. How old were you when they landed on the moon? I was 17 years old when they landed on the moon. Okay. And how many times did they land on the moon? Who? Armstrong and Aldrin? They landed on the moon only once. Yes, they landed on the moon. Okay. And what did they find? Nothing, just rocks. Okay. Landed. Invited. Did you invite anybody to lunch yesterday? Yes, I did. I invited an ex-football player to lunch yesterday. Yeah. Where did you have lunch? I had lunch near Coyalo Villalba, in that area. All right. How many people did you have lunch with? I had lunch with 2 people. One of them was an ex-football player. Was it good? What, the lunch? Yeah, the lunch was very good. Yeah, it was good. How many people did you invite? I invited one person, but I went with another that came with me. So I invited one person. Invited. How many people did you invite to your last birthday party? I didn't invite anybody. Have you ever invited people to a birthday party? No. Personally, no. Now, my mother, when I was a little boy, she invited other kids, other children, to my birthday parties. What birthday party do you remember the most? When I turned 9. My birthday party when I turned 9. Where were you living? Pasado continuo. Where were you living when you turned 9? When I turned 9, Cuando cumplí los 9 años, dices. When I turned 9, I was living in Houston, Texas. And was your birthday party at home? No, it wasn't. Where was it? My birthday party was in a skating rink. What? In a skating rink. What's that? A skating rink. To skate, escrito skate, is patinar. Sobre ruedas o sobre hielo. And rink, it's not important. It's un pabellón dentro. You go around. That's a skating rink. Ah, you ice skating. No, roller skating. Roller. Roll is rodar. Roller skating is sobre ruedas. So, my birthday was in a roller skating rink. Really? How many kids did your mother invite? A lot. Of course, when you're little, everything is impressionable. So, but I think my mother invited about 25 kids. It was pandemonium in the skating rink. Yes. 1 month later, we moved. A month and a half later, we moved. My father was transferred to Oklahoma. But my last event in Houston was my birthday party, and my mother invited a lot of people. Who invented the pencil? I have no idea. Do you know who invented the pencil? ¿Quién inventó esto? Who invented the microphone? I don't know. Who invented the radio? Marconi. Yeah? Enrico Marconi, the Italian. He invented the wireless, el sin hilo. He invented the radio, I think. Who invented the motor car? I don't know. I think a German man, really. I think it was an evolution. Did Henry Ford invent the car? No, he didn't. He didn't invent the car. He invented the assembly line. La cadena de montaje. He invented the assembly line, yes. And who invented electricity? I don't know. Michael Faraday? I really don't know who invented. And who invented the English language? I don't know. Nobody invented the English language. Nobody. And who invented the fried egg? El huevo frito? No, nobody invented. Well, Francis Bacon, perhaps. Nobody invented the fried egg. Well, but if somebody invented the fried egg, it was a very, very good invention. And who invented mayonnaise? The cook of a British commander in Mahón, in Menorca. Por eso es mahonesa. All right. Mayonnaise was invented in Mahón, in Menorca. And I think this is true. Huh? I think it's true. All right, invented. Yes. When you were, how long have you been teaching, Richard? Me? I've been teaching English for 46 and a half years. A long time. And you know, Richard, you insist on the basics. Yeah, I insist on mastering the basics. I don't insist on mastering advanced English. I insist on the basics. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, did you also insist on the basics? Yes, always. When I was a young teacher, I insisted on the basics more than today. And I was a hard teacher when I was younger, and I insisted day in and day out, día tras día, un día sí y otro sí. Day in and day out. Es una expresión día tras día. Every day, day after day. También se dice día tras día. Day after day, alone on a hill, day in and day out. I insisted on the basics. I insisted on mastering the basics. And Richard, why did you insist? From the beginning, desde el principio, no? Why did you insist on the basics? Because I learned Spanish the hard way. And my mastery of Spanish, when I speak, is thanks to the basics. Mastery of the basic conjugations in the present, past, and future tense, which is 90% of everything, the basics. And I always insisted, and now I still insist. I insisted last year, I insisted the year before, I always insist. Included, yes. Why did you include Akimorita in your group of characters? I included him because I wanted a Japanese person. And why did you include Paula Eisenbach? Well, I wanted to include a German in the group. Yeah, but why did you include her in particular? Well, I included her because I wanted a young person. I wanted a university student. And I wanted an attractive little girl with freckles. With what? With freckles. What does freckles mean? What does freckles mean? Pecas. So I wanted to include a German girl with freckles. University. Okay, and why did you include Inés Garcia? I wanted to include a Spanish character. Yes, but why did you include a person from Seville? Why not Zaragoza? I don't know. I just thought that Seville is a very interesting city. But I knew that Francois Monet, the Frenchman, was going to fall in love with Inés, the Sevillana, the Sevillian girl. And it's from the Opera Carmen, you remember. La, da, 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 da. And so the French officer falls in love with the girl in Seville. You remember, un oficial francés. So that's the reason. But Francois Monet is not a French officer. He's a French chemist. Bueno, no, he's not a chemist. Francois Monet is a chemical engineer. It's different. Ingeniero químico. No es químico. Es ingeniero químico. All right, so I included hated. Yes. Hey, Richard, when you were a little boy, did you hate your father sometimes? Well, no, I never hated my father. Never. Sometimes my father, bam, but it was my fault. Yeah, when you're a little child, you're cruel sometimes. Yeah, I hate you. I hated my father. But it was not true. I didn't hate my father. When you came to Spain, the first month, did you hate the food? No, I didn't hate the food. I liked it. The only thing I hated were green peppers, as you remember. Green peppers, pimientos verdes. I hate pimientos, green peppers. And I have always hated them. Hated. Richard, were there a lot of people in Germany who hated Adolf Hitler? Yes, there were. Yes. Even though, aquí viene even though, aunque, even though Adolf Hitler managed to influence the German people in a bad way, a lot of German people hated him. They hated him, but they couldn't express their feelings. It was too dangerous. But a lot of people hated him, and a lot of generals. Did any of the German generals hate Adolf Hitler? Yes, there were. A lot of the generals hated the Nazi regime. But they didn't have control. Hated. To hate is odiar. I hate these lights. Yeah, I hated them yesterday and I hate them today because I can't see you very well because of the lights. Avoided. Richard, do you normally avoid confrontations? Well, I prefer, if possible, to avoid a confrontation. I don't like confrontations. But I don't avoid a confrontation if it's unavoidable. Yeah. Have you ever avoided a confrontation? Well, of course, many times I have avoided a confrontación. I've avoided a confrontation, yes, because it was avoidable, porque era evitable. Se puede evitar lo evitable, pero no lo inevitable. You can't avoid. And do you want to learn English? Yes. What does it depend on? Well, your English, your progress depends on you. It depends on your effort. It depends on your attention. It depends on the sincerity of your effort. Sinceridad del esfuerzo. It depends on that. And 10 years ago, it depended on the same thing. It depended on the same thing. But Richard, when you came to Spain, did your decision depend on anything? Well, the first time I came to Spain, I came as a student in 1972. Ha llovido un poco. 1972. And I decided to come because I wanted to come. But I needed my parents' consent because in the university, my parents were financing my education. My father was paying for my education. So I wanted to come. Well, I decided to come because I wanted to come, but I needed their consent. Su de ellos. Consentimiento, consent. I needed their consent. So the idea of coming to Spain depended on them. Dependía de ellos. It depended on. Depended, pasado simple. Dependía. It depended on them. Ahora, enlacemos. It depended on. It depended on them. It didn't depend on me. It depended on them. It didn't depend on me. 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 It depended on them. It depended on them. It depended on them. And it didn't depend on me. Okay. Estas tonterías, si los practicas así, o sea, las frases, te haces con ello. All right. Y que no te dé vergüenzas cantar un poco en inglés. It depended on them, it depended on them, it didn't depend on me. Okay. It didn't depend, eliminated, expanded. Yes, the Big Bang. You remember the Big Bang? Do you remember? The Big Bang, 16 billion years ago. The start of the universe, according to the experts, according to the experts, the universe started with a big explosion, a big bang. Yeah, but that was before I was born. Oh, yeah, okay, fine. But so you don't, of course I don't remember. I wasn't alive. It was long before I was born. Yes, but what happened? Well, there was a big bang, a big explosion. Yeah? And then, well, the universe expanded. Right. Se expandió. O sea, and then it expanded a little more. And then it expanded even more. And now, well, they say, the experts say, it's still expanding. Wow, the universe, it's still expanding. All right, hated, existed, yes. Do the dinosaurs still exist? No, dinosaurs don't exist today. No, dinosaurios, they don't exist. When did they exist? Well, they existed a long time ago. Well, yeah, Richard, can you be more precise? Can you be more specific? Can you be, puede ser more precise? About the dinosaurs, yeah. About when they existed, yes. When did the dinosaurs exist? Well, they existed, I think, between 150 million and 70 million years ago. They existed for a long period, maybe 200 million. They existed for 200 million years. They became extinct 70 million years ago. Wow, that's a long time ago. That was before I was born, yeah. 70 million years ago, they became, or they went extinct. Se dice con el verbo ir extinct. But I think for 200 million years, they existed, but I'm not sure of the duration of their presence, of their existence on this planet. Where did they exist? They existed everywhere. In Spain? In the Iberian Peninsula? Yes, they existed here. Did they exist in Wyoming? Yes, they existed in Wyoming. Did they exist in South Dakota? Yes, they existed in South Dakota. All right. Yes. To exist. So divide. Yes, divide. You know, if we, all right, I have all these pencils, 20 pencils. I'm going to divide them into groups. First, a group of 3, and then a group of 2. All right. You see, I have divided the pencils into 2 groups, a group of 3 and a group of 2. Now I'm going to put a group of 4 pencils and a group of 3. All right. Now I have divided the pencils into a group of 4 and to a group of 3. Divided into. All right. And finally, I'm going to divide, let's see, 3 and 4 is 7, 8, 9, a group of 9 and a group of 11. Okay. Now I have divided the pencils into a group of 9 and a group of 11. And now I'm going to put all the pencils back in the cup. Okay, like that. Marta, like that or like that? Which way, Marta? Like this? No, the other way. This way or the other way? Like this? Like this? Okay, like that. Like this? Yeah, like that? Okay, she's nodding her head. Okay, yeah. She's a good collaborator. All right, how many times did I divide the pencils? You divided them 3 times. And the first time? The first time you divided them into 2 groups, one group of 3 and a group of 2, right? Yeah, that's true. That's right, yeah. The first time I divided them into 2 groups, one group of 3 and another group of 2. And the second time, and then? Well, then you divided them into 2 groups again, but one group of 4 and another group of 3. 7 in all. 7 in all. ¿Cómo? 7 in all. ¿Qué significa 7 in all? No. 7 in all. 7 en total. Anda, ¿cómo lo digo? In all. No solemos decir in total. In total. Decimos in all. Yes. The second time, the first time I divided the pencils into 2 groups. One group of 3 and a group of 2. 5 in all. The second time, I divided the pencils into 2 groups again, one with 4 pencils and the other with 3. 7 in all. Okay, and finally, the third time, I divided the pencils into 2 groups, one group of 9 and another group of 11. 20 pencils in all. And then I put all of them back like that. No, I put them back like this. And then Marta was behind the camera. Marta was doing this. She was doing this. And I realized that I needed to put them like this, because Marta prefers the pencils like this, not the other way. That way, not the other way. That way. All right. So, decided. Richard, when did you decide to come to Spain? I've told you before. I don't like to repeat myself, but I decided to come to Spain in the spring 1972. And I came in August. But I decided to come in the spring. But as I said, it depended on my parents' consent. But I decided to come in the springtime of 1972. And Richard, when did you decide to get married? I decided to get married in October 1977. October 1977, yeah. And when did you get married? I got married in December 1977, 2 months later. Wow, that's fast. Why so fast? Why wait? When you make a decision, carry it out. ¿Cómo? ¿Llevarlo qué? When you make a decision, carry it out. Llévalo a cabo. La decisión. Cuando tomas una decisión, llévala a cabo. Don't wait 12 years like some people here in Spain. So I decided to get married in October. I decided to get married in October 1977, and I got married in December 1977. Okay. Hey, Richard, how many times have you counted to 10 in Italian? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've counted to 10 in Italian maybe 30 times in my life. But now I can't count to 10 because Marta's counting down to stop. See you tomorrow.